Hi, this is Tricia from East Marsh Acres. It's a Saturday again, so we're having a little bit of a work day, although it's probably about 29 degrees already. And we're going to be working in the hoop house. So today, I think that's about all we're going to be able to accomplish. But it's starting to grow, a little bit overgrown and weedy, so we got to tie up these tomatoes. And I mean, this is perfect weather for tomatoes and so on, but anyways, we'll see what we can accomplish today. And although this week what I've been doing is weeding out the gardens here and strawing. I just haven't, the weeds in the middle haven't been hoed. I can't do that at this point in time. So, and then we also up here this is the other bed, and so that needs some weeding too, but we got the potatoes pretty well weeded because we've been having to go through every day and get these potato bugs off them because they've been stripping the leaves and so on. So every day we have less, but yeah, so I'll be doing that again. And maybe I'll show you what they look like in a second.
Hi, it's Roland from East Marsh Acres, and yeah, it's still Saturday, but we're finding it very, very slow going inside the high tunnel because it is just so warm. Not sure what the temperature is inside the high tunnel, but it's going to be probably, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, but 5 to 10 degrees probably higher, just because of additional humidity. The sides are open, but they don't really add all that much. What we are doing, I don't know if Tricia described this at all, but we are looking at the tomatoes, particularly the indiscriminate ones, the ones that grow as vines rather than bushes. And you'll see some of the differences here. So these first 3 or 4 plants are vines, they're indeterminate. And then you see a number of bushy, lower, smaller, different tomatoes in that row that are determinate. You do not touch the determinate in the same way that you do the indeterminate. And what you're doing with the indeterminate is every time there is a leaflet that's growing in between the actual leaf and the stem itself, you remove it because it's actually a sucker, what we call a sucker. It will grow. It does not provide the same level of support, and it becomes much less stable if you can't get at the plant itself. As a consequence, you end up with lesser amounts of fruit and lesser quality. So we're doing that, and we're weeding at the same time. So you can see on the ground here, there's lots of tomato leaves and some of the other leaves that we have collected as well. And so doing the weeding at the same time makes an awful lot of sense because you're in there very close to the plants anyways. And I'm just seeing another indeterminate plant where I left the sucker. There's the sucker there, just pulling off. Sorry if you get water on the lens here. And on this side we have a few tomatoes, but there's also peppers out the back and eggplant that you're seeing the large leaves themselves. I think we're going to actually get out of here because we're running the risk of heat stroke and we certainly do not want to come down with that. So I think we're going to come back another day. Anyways, we'll take you along on our journeys wherever they may be, and talk to you soon. Okay, I know I'm a sight. You'll see water dripping off my hat from the high tunnel working with the tomatoes. I just wanted to give you an overview of the rest of the garden while we're here. So here we have our purple beans. You would have seen these from the last couple of seasons, and they grow up to be quite long pole beans that when you take them off and blanch them, they actually turn a dark green. So they are green beans. They just come out with a purple color to begin with. And so they'll be growing up the chicken wire that we've actually attached to these T-posts. And here we've got supposedly a series of cucumbers. There's one there. I don't know if I see any others. I will go looking because there are supposed to be cucumbers in here. The next two rows are bush beans. So these are brown beans, and they're doing quite well. We'll have to make sure that they get watered again soon. These are lima beans, and then we've got carrots over there in that second from the end row. And then over on the far side, cabbages, mostly kales. There you can see the leafy kales, etc. Here you can actually see the asparagus plants and the little seeds on most of them. I don't know if you can see them, but let's go and take a look. The little seeds, so they'll actually seed themselves. So there's a fair number of asparagus plants in here. A little smaller one there, smaller one there, and a smaller one on the end. And there's supposed to be strawberries in here too, but I don't think they get enough light to be able to do much of anything. So our chickens are finishing their second week in this larger run that we put them in, and they're doing quite well, dealing with the heat as well. So we've put pans of water out so that they can either use it as drinking water, which is not a great idea, but not bad. More to actually give them the opportunity to put their feet in, because they can actually cool themselves through their feet, because they're all kinds of blood vessels running through their feet. Okay, over here, so this first row is flowers of various kinds and weeds. We seem to be doing quite well in terms of growing weeds, as always. Just going back to our discussion of weeds. So what is a weed? It's a plant growing where we don't want it to grow. So there's no category of weeds itself. It's merely the placement of the actual plant itself. Because most plants that are considered to be weeds by most people do have beneficial value, and they will. For instance, lamb's quarter that I'm picking right here, even though it's not growing where we want it to grow, so we're considering it a weed. You can actually eat lamb's quarter and feed it to the chickens, etc. So it is nutritionally sound for them and safe. Here we have onions. So this entire row is onions, white and some red apparently. They're doing quite well from what I can see. And then we've got potatoes, and they have been dealing with potato bugs, which probably overwintered in the soil, but this is what potato bugs do. So they're totally decimating the top leaves, etc. There's still lots of vegetation in the bottom, so we weren't worried too much about it. Some of these plants are worse than others. The only way to deal with potato bugs is to pull them off. I typically squash them, because again, they are animals growing where we do not want them, but we can't call them wheat. There's a tomato, and there's a potato bug, and there are it's probably some kind of a squash. One of the plans that we hope to utilize this year is to implement putting, I gotta get inside, putting landscape cloth along the edges, the four edges of every one of our gardens, and covering it with a cover of wood chips, so that we don't have this incursion of plants, weeds into the garden all the time, but we can actually control it to a certain extent. So we've done it along that side. We need to do a little bit more because it needs another half sheet of landscape fabric. Here along the edge, and then we go for that outside edge that I cleared last week, the outside edge over there, and then the ends there, and here. Oh, I guess on this side too, but this one's primarily done. All we need to do is put the something. Okay, I'm just going to clean things up a little bit and head back. Trish, I'm just not cooling down, so I'm getting out of here.
I'm going. I'm coming.
You look wet.
Yeah. It's refreshing.
Good afternoon. It's Roland from East Marsh Acres, and I'm here on a Friday afternoon, which is kind of an unusual event, but I just finished off with some dissertation defenses for doctoral students. I had 3 of them this week, all of whom I was supervising, all successful, but it takes a lot of mental power as you're going through. So I'm going to spend maybe an hour or so just going through the next set of tomato plants and getting them wired, or getting them strung up, and doing the weeding and trimming of the bushes, the plants, as we're going along. As you can see, Patricia was able to actually finish this row, so they're all completed now, and they're looking great. I mean, these plants were not at the root yet last week when we were working on them initially, but they have gotten there now, and many of the other plants are looking very, very good. So they've got to have a little bit more editing done to them, but they certainly are looking like they are growing quite nicely. And so I'm going to be working on this row and see if I can clean it up, and then see if I can get to, there's a few tomato plants, and then we go to peppers, and there's supposed to be eggplant at the back, and that is a big, I'm not sure what that is, but it's a plant that's growing where we don't want it, so I will need to actually remove that as well. Anyhow, so I will bring you along, and let's have some fun getting very warm. The reason that we didn't get into doing much during the past week is that we've had a stretch of weather where the temperatures every day were plus 30 and in the 45, 50, 60, 75, depending on the day, percent humidity, and it's just unbearable to stay outside when it's that kind of weather, at least here in Ontario. Other places you might be used to it, but we are not. We're just frostbitten, to quote Max Webster, an old rock and roll band from the 80s and 90s. We're just frostbitten Canadian folk. Bit of a paraphrase. Yeah, we're just not used to really warm temperatures. But of course, with climate crisis, this is exactly what we're getting. And it looks like there will be some more high temperatures next week. But in the meantime, we're supposed to be about 23, 24. Let me see what the temperature is right now. According to this, 25 degrees right now. And the humidity is quite a bit lower. Anyways, we'll see how far we can get along, and I'll bring you up to date. Hi, it's Roland again. Okay, a couple hours later, I've collected some of this on the other camera, but yeah, I'm done. It's supper time. I'm calling it here right now. You'll be able to see what I've done. So we're going through the plants, making sure that we are pruning them so that the suckers, etc., are not available. So you can see where I've cut them off here, the lower leaves, so you end up improving airflow, improving vigor of the plant, and it ends up being much more accessible as a consequence as well. Some of these are a little bit too close, but we'll get there. So these are the ones that I just worked on, this one, and this one. And so I still have these to go. These are the, those are pepper plants. That's a tomato plant. And there's a tomato plant. But the rest of those are peppers. You can see the yellow peppers there. And we've got yellow peppers here as well. We'll probably start taking a look at harvesting some of those. These are eggplant at the back. We'll see how they do this year. And so what we're going to do is tomorrow we're just going to come and finish that one row off. So just a few plants to go. And then we'll tie up the largest of the pepper plants, but probably don't need to do these small ones yet because they're not in need of it. So we'll give them a little bit of time to work on their own. And then we'll probably have to come back through to make sure that we're pruning again from the ones from last week because they actually grow very quickly. As I suggested, these ones were not at the top of the high tunnel yet last week, but they are now. All right, so turning off the other camera, picking it up. I'll bring you along so you can see the chickens as we go past. So that's another thing that we have to do tomorrow. We'll have to move them out of this paddock. They've been in there for 3 weeks, and we're moving them there. So that paddock that hasn't been touched yet, still got quite a bit of long grass in it, and we'll use the white fence, which is over there somewhere. So the beans, you can see the bush beans are doing quite well. These are, that's a cucumber. There's supposed to be other cucumbers in here, but I don't see any more. Marigolds. Oh, there's another cucumber there. And these are the purple beans, and they are growing up the fence. As you can see, they do a good job. I'll have to come back through here and cut this again with the tractor, and then lay down some landscape cloth and cover it with the wood chips, so that we end up with this entire section doesn't get out of hand again. And we'll eventually do that around the back, around the sides, and at the front of the gardens. So they're surrounded on 4 sides by accessible, they're just accessible on all sides, and that'll make it a lot easier to work with and keep clean, etc. Anyways, small strides every year, just a little bit more. We've been working on these paddocks with the birds for 3 years now, 2 or 3 years, and they're doing a wonderful job. Should show you the, you can see it particularly out here, where all those grasses essentially are due to the chickens nibbling through and scratching and leaving their waste products behind. I was with some of my kids and grandkids. We were out here the other day, Wednesday night, and starting to pick raspberries, because the raspberries are just absolutely booming right now. They're kind of small because we don't have a lot of water to give them, but there are definitely lots of them, and they're very nice. Need to get into the shower and get rid of all of this tomato sap off of my fingers. It's absolutely disgusting. And 50 years later, I'm still doing the same thing. So I used to, when we lived in Chatham, Ontario, I used to pick tomatoes for a job in August through to beginning of September. Most of the farm kids were growing tomatoes at that area. We still had a Campbell plant making soup, etc. in Chatham, and there was the Heinz plant in Leamington. Anyway, so yesterday I was also, or Wednesday, I was also picking black currants. You can see them here, just absolutely wonderful. So I've already got a pint of black currants, and these are ready to go as well. So I'll give you a little hint of what it's like eating black currants. Nice and sweet with a little tartness on the edge. Make wonderful jam and sauces and things eventually. So we've got the 2 plants, and they're doing very well. All right. Oh, and Kathy had a sour cherry tree that was ready. It's a little bit past its prime right now. Most of the cherries, I think, have been picked off by the birds. So it's that second one to the left. Or I guess the third one on the left. And soon we'll start the bridge project and the deck project in front of Rachel's place. I got to remember to keep you out of the sun. All right, so going in. Talk to you soon. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to record some more video as we're going through, and we'll bring you along. Talk to you soon. Bye.